Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
Hello, everybody. Thank you all for being here, and of course I want to thank all of those who are now watching this video on one of our many video platforms. We put all of my videos up on YouTube, but we also put them up on BitChute, and we also put them up on Rumble. And sometimes some of our videos, my videos, get taken down from YouTube because they're not happy with some of the things I've said. But my videos are all on BitChute and Rumble, and they don't seem to take any down. So if you want to make sure you get the full complement of Reverend Tony's videos and talks, check it out on BitChute and Rumble. Okay. Title of my talk today, A Collaborative Venture. I like those three words, just the meme of the words, a collaborative venture. There is something about those words, that meme, that has always just resonated with me. I talk about this from time to time. There are certain passages in A Course in Miracles that just resonate with me. You know, one of them is the celestial speed up. I gave a talk about that, a few weeks ago. Another one is, mighty companions. That one always resonates with me too. It's just something energetically connects with that idea, and I feel that it's important for me, and it's important for me to ask for guidance about that and sink into it and go beyond the intellectual understanding of the words and to be open to receive some sort of truth that is deeper than the words. Okay, but let's start with the word. So, collaborative. Collaborative is an adjective. The dictionary defines it as produced or conducted by two or more parties working together. So, we collaborate when two or more are together. And healing, or as the original edition says, rehabilitation, is a collaborative venture. In other words, it's accomplished through collaboration. It's accomplished through two or more parties working together. It isn't accomplished by us working by ourselves. That's what A Course in Miracles calls the lonely journey, and that's the journey that fails. Okay, A Course in Miracles says the lonely journey fails because it has excluded what it would find. So if we're really going to engage here with A Course in Miracles and its thought system, and if we're really going to have healing and rehabilitation and transformation and maybe even a little enlightenment in our experience of life, then we need to collaborate. And the Community Miracle Center is a great organization to collaborate with. We have been doing this A Course in Miracles thing for 36 plus years now. We are in our 37th year. And we formed to provide strong collaboration support for A Course in Miracles students. I know that's why we formed, because I was one of the founders. So that's why we formed. We wanted to have a place where we could join together as equals and collaborate. And that's the game that Community Miracle Center has always been playing. And A Course in Miracles calls this game the salvation game. It says salvation can be thought of as a game that happy children play. I want to focus a minute on the idea that it says happy children. It doesn't say salvation is the game that a happy child plays. It's happy children play it. So children are playing together. That's what we're doing here at Community Miracle Center. That's what we do. Every Sunday gathering, that's what we do with the 13 other groups that we have going on every week. That's what we do at the conferences that we have held and at all the things we do. We are playing a happy salvation game, and it's the children of God playing it together. It's not a single solitary child playing it by him or herself. Course in Miracles says, it, meaning salvation's game, was designed by one who loves his children, again children, plural, and who would replace their fearful toys with joyous games which teach them that the game of fear is gone. His game instructs in happiness because there is no loser. Everyone who plays must win. So this salvation game that we are playing here, the Happy Children of God, and that we play here at Community Miracle Center, is a happy, joyful game. It has no fear in it. And it's a joyful game because everybody's going to win at this game. It's not a game where there are winners and losers. It's a game where there's only winners. And I believe that is true when you join with us here on Sunday. This is a win-win game for everybody here. There is an energetic transfer that goes on between us all by joining together, and we all win, and we all heal, and we all are saved. Now, in that reading that Reverend Rudy read so well, it says, that is why rehabilitation is a collaborative venture. Okay, so our rehabilitation is a collaborative venture. It's something that we are going to do together. And I still think there's a lot of people who approach their spiritual work as a primary solitary thing. So I'm about, breaking that idea up. A Course in Miracles is all about joining. It's all about relationships. It's about the holy relationships that we have. And a holy relationship is a relationship that we've turned over to the Holy Spirit and aligned with divine purposes and not our individual ego purposes. And A Course in Miracles tells us that people that we have a salvation purpose in common with, people that we're playing a happy salvation game with, are our mighty companions. And I talk about that a lot, and I think it's worth repeating. And again, it's one of those memes that I really connect with. Mighty companions. And the big quote for that is, yet when he is ready to go on, he goes with mighty companions besides him. Now he rests a while and gathers them before going on. He will not go on from here alone. So, mighty companions, we don't do this alone, and I think that's what we do all the time here at Community Miracles Center. Okay, so in the Foundation for Inner Peace book, this collaborative venture quotation is worded a little differently. The one I just read was from the original edition, some from the earlier editions. That is why rehabilitation is a collaborative venture. But in the more edited Foundation for Inner Peace version, it says that is why healing is a collaborative venture. So they changed the word rehabilitation and they changed it to healing. And I remember when I first read it, I was so used to reading it as healing, and healing being a collaborative venture, I still kind of think of it that way, that when I read rehabilitation is a collaborative venture, it startled me a little bit. But over the years, I've really gotten to appreciate the nuance of difference in meaning that rehabilitation has. A nuance is a subtle difference or shade of meaning, expression, or sound. So, it's not a totally different thought, but there's a nuance of difference. And I think rehabilitation more strongly suggests that we once were whole, but that we somehow strayed. And so we need rehabilitation. You need rehabilitation to get back to your whole state. Some sort of action is required to rehabilitate you. The actual definition of rehabilitation is the action of restoring someone to health or normal life through training and therapy after imprisonment, addiction, or illness. Certainly, I think the illness part is obvious, but we need rehabilitation from our addiction. Our addiction to thinking that we're separate. Our addiction to thinking that the physical world is real. Our addiction to thinking that we only have a limited amount of power. I don't want to say that we consider ourselves to be powerless. Most people consider themselves to have a certain amount of power. But nobody in a body really considers themselves to have unlimited power. Yet, of course, A Miracles is telling us that even in the body, we have unlimited power. It is only our belief that the body limits our power that limits our power. So it's really only the belief. It's only a thought that limits our power. We have unlimited power, and A Course in Miracles is reminding us of that over and over again, all throughout the book, all throughout the workbook lessons, all throughout the teacher's manual. There is nothing that we cannot heal. We have unlimited power. And collaborating with other people that believe that on a regular basis, I think multiple times a week, maybe even daily, that's the way we can keep that in our mind. If we don't collaborate with others to reinforce that, very hard to maintain that perspective, maybe almost impossible. Or as the quote says, the lonely journey fails. I wouldn't attempt to do it alone. I want to do it in collaboration. So when I've talked about collaboration, and I talked about mighty companions before, some people believe the mighty companions are Jesus and the Holy Spirit. They don't really consider the mighty companions to be their fellow sisters, brothers, and others. But I've always felt that it's all of it, and I certainly have felt that my mighty companions were my sisters, brothers, and others. And when the quotation goes on to say, now we gather them, I think that's what we do. We gather the mighty companions. That's one of the reasons why this is called the Sunday gathering, because we're gathering the mighty companions. We used to call it the Sunday service. I started not connecting to the word service and connecting more to gathering. So this is the Sunday gathering. We are gathering our mighty companions. And there's also an idea about collaborating, that you collaborate with equals. That's who you collaborate with. A collaboration is equals getting together and sharing their individual talents so that the whole becomes greater than the sum of its parts. So we collaborate with equals. And if it's about collaborating with equals, that sort of takes the Holy Spirit out of the equation. I mean, the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit, we're not really equal to the Holy Spirit. We're all one. There's a oneness with the Holy Spirit, but, just like we are not God the Father, I don't consider myself to be the Holy Spirit, but I am equal to Jesus. I mean, A Course in Miracles spends a lot of time talking about that. So we definitely can collaborate with Jesus, and we can collaborate with all of our sisters, brothers, and others. So when you think of that quotation, that is why rehabilitation is a collaborative venture, see if you can move it to really mean Jesus and all of our sisters, brothers, and others. All of us equals. Us equal miracle workers, miracle healers. That quotation goes on, and it's obviously Jesus talking here. He says, I can tell you what to do, but this will not help you unless you collaborate by believing that I know what to do. So we need to collaborate with Jesus. We need to collaborate with him as an equal, but we also need to collaborate with him as someone who's a little further along this path than we are, and who knows what it is that we should do. I mean, ultimately, he's our guide to miracles. Ultimately, he's the one that's in charge of the process of the atonement. And healing and salvation and the atonement is realize moment to moment in joining, in collaboration with each other and with Jesus. You know, some people think salvation and healing is obtained through theoretically understanding A Course in Miracles, intellectually understanding A Course in Miracles. And that reinforces the lonely journey. They feel if they could just understand it well enough, they would be able to do it. And so they gravitate towards teachers, you know, maybe they gravitate towards Ken Wapnick, maybe they gravitate towards Robert Perry, maybe they gravitate towards Gary Renard. And all these teachers that do a lot of good work explaining what A Course in Miracles means intellectually. And while I think all of that has a place, it's not the real collaboration that produces real rehabilitation and real healing. That's done with Jesus. That's done with me and you and all those gathered here. That's done with our mighty companions. And I'm not saying that it's not beneficial to read wonderful Course authors and wonderful Course scholars. It is. It is beneficial. But the real rehabilitation happens with true collaboration, and that we do in a moment-to-moment holy instant. Jesus also tells us in A Course in Miracles, I have told you before that I am in charge of the whole process of atonement. That is only because I completed my part in it as a man and can now complete it through other men. Okay, for sure that means other men and women. I don't want to be a sexist here. But Jesus is in charge. We need to collaborate with Jesus. I try daily to collaborate with Jesus, and Jesus is always around, and he is in charge. So, look busy. The boss is here. Jesus is in charge, and he's around, and we're here to collaborate with him on the salvation of the world. Okay, yesterday was Saturday. I had an experience that at first troubled me. Okay, I had a lot of work to do yesterday, including getting ready for Sunday, but other things I had to do, and I got distracted. I got distracted by this incredibly interesting Facebook conversation that was going on, and it sucked up several hours of my time. Now, it was a Facebook conversation that was going on in that very large Facebook group that I'm an admin of. So it was a very wonderful conversation about A Course in Miracles. Is it duality? Is it non-duality? What do the teachers teach? What does Ken Wapnick say? And all of that kind of thing. But I didn't do some of the other work that I had intended to do. And I ended up being really late. I mean, I got the absolute necessary things done that I needed to get done. But I felt a little bad. I felt a little that I'd strayed again. I felt a little guilty that I had not stayed focused on those things I believed that I should do, needed to do. And I was in the midst of that guilt until I really turned it over to Jesus, collaborated with Jesus, and asked for some help because I didn't want to be affected by this guilt that I hadn't stayed focused. And then immediately I remembered the story about Jesus when he was 12 years old and his family had gone to Jerusalem to participate in a festival of some kind. I wonder what kind of festivals they had in Jerusalem. And as the family returned from the festival, apparently his parents, Jesus and Mary, thought he was with friends or relatives, but then about a day on their journey back, they realized that Jesus wasn't with them. Jesus wasn't with the party. And so they got concerned, and they had to go back to Jerusalem to see if they could find where Jesus was. And they eventually found him back in the temple, back in Jerusalem, and he was talking with the teachers, with the spiritual teachers. And they expressed concern. My guess is they are probably a little bit angry. Of course, they don't say that in the Bible, but he says that they were anxious. And Jesus tells them, and he said to them, "Why do you seek me? Did you not know that I must be about my Father's business?" And when I remembered that line, it alleviated all my guilt and all my concern. I was about my Father's business. I was having a very wonderful discussion with a lot of people about A Course in Miracles. And that's my business. And that's God's business. And I was collaborating with all of those people. I was joining with them. And it was a little messy. You know, collaboration isn't always clean and neat. Sometimes it's a little messy. Sometimes it's a little emotional. So those of you who are familiar with that group know how messy actually that can all get. That group can be pretty raucous and, contentious. A lot of people believing they're right. Can seem like they're arguing. I mean, maybe they are arguing. I always see the love behind it. But it is a large group of A Course in Miracles students collaborating. And I just got that. That's what I was called to do yesterday. It wasn't part of my plan. But in that moment, I was about God's business. I was about the healing business. I was about collaborating. And yeah, it was a little messy, but that's what we're here to do. We're here to collaborate. You know, when I think back about that story about Jesus staying at the temple to talk to the other teachers and the priests of the temple, you know, the image that I had with it as a young child when I was taught that story, it was probably this wonderful discussion, this high-level discussion that he was having. And what I realized yesterday was, no, it was probably more like a Facebook argument. It was probably a whole bunch of teachers arguing different points of view. But they were collaborating, and they were about the Father's business. So I wanted to make sure I made that point. Collaborating with our sisters and brothers around A Course in Miracles, collaborating with the Community Miracle Center, it's sometimes a little messy. But that doesn't mean it's not worth doing. And that doesn't mean there's not something beyond it that's infinitely important and meaningful and healing. Okay, also in that reading that Reverend Rudy read, it said, the will to unite or to collaborate, the will to, I'll say collaborate, must be unequivocal, or the will itself is divided or not whole. So we need to be unequivocal, which means leaving no doubt or being unambiguous. There is no equal. There is nothing higher. There is no higher will. The will to collaborate, to unite, to join with Jesus, with our sisters, brothers, and others, to join in spiritual community, to join in groups, to join with the Community Miracle Center. It has to be the most important thing we do. We have to be about the Father's business. And I think that's what we offer to each other, all of us mighty companions offer to each other all the time. So our offer to you and my offer to you is a collaboration without doubt. It's not without being messy, but it is without doubt, and it is about our Father's business, and it is unequivocal. And that's my talk for today. So thank you very much.
Nel nome del Padre, Figliolo, Spirito Santo. Amen.
Such a separation.
Have you been lonely? Have you been sad?